Now that we have our tiny world here, and it's looking decent, of course we can't continue to spend many hours just set dressing it. I just want to dress lagging right now. Lagging and a little bit of fog, volumetric stuff. And the reason for that is because I do think it's kind of annoying that I can see the horizon this much, so I'm going to try to mask a little bit. But it also is an important part of what we're building. So first, I need you to go to settings, and we're going to enable volumetrics. By default, that stuff is off. So just look for volumetrics, and in this case for me is also off, and I can enable it. It's going to ask me to restart, so we're going to do that and continue from there. Okay, when I restart it, it's opening my old map, which is cool, but the one that we have right now is so much cooler. So what I'm going to do is just go to maps, follow along, new world underscore p for persistent. There you go. Looks how cool this is, man. Way superior, way superior. So with volumetrics enable, it allows us to have volumetric lighting in shadow. So if I go here to my add and go to light and I look for a spotlight and I put in my scene, as you can see, that's the spotlight right there. I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna make sure that my outer angle is very tight. Notice that we have a setting here called volumetric intensity scattering, right? And I'm gonna put a 50 and nothing's gonna happen. The reason for that is because I need to enable volumetrics in my level. So if I go all the way to light and exponential height fog, there is a button here called volumetric fog. As soon as I do this, now we have volumetric light in your scene. Okay, this is pretty cool because it allows us to do very complex effects, and it's not that heavy. It's very useful, but it's not that heavy. So I created this tiny area here, and that's where I want my player to start. It's going to be like a magical area that he's transported to this world. Before I even continue, I'm actually going to do one more thing. I have all these assets here, and really frustrates me that there are so many like this. I'm going to group them all, put in a folder 04 geo, and I'm going to actually select the ones that are here and go put in another folder. Inside that folder called start area. I'm going to move my camera here. You can actually see the volumetric already a little bit over everything. I'm going to call this area here the farm or outpost. So I'm going to select all of this and put inside the folder. And the reason why I'm doing this is just to organize. I could make all of this into a pack level actor and start placing this everywhere. Maybe we should do something like that, but for now, I just wanted to make sure that I have everything selected. Put it into a folder again. Farm. That way, it's easy for me to find myself. And I think the remaining here can be where they are. I don't need to organize them any further. All right. So I'm just navigating around the scene. I want to first set up my lighting. I like the way because the camera is facing this direction, I kind of like the way that the shadows are. They're not fully in parallel, they're kind of going to the back. But I want to see if there's anything else I can do. So I'm going to select my directional light. So the thing with the directional light, which is pretty cool, is that the only thing that matters for the directional light is the rotation. So the position can be literally anywhere you want. It doesn't matter position wise, just rotation. And you can actually see when I press G here, my directional light, you can see there's like the icon of a sun, right? And then there's a little bit of an arrow pointing where the light's being cast in the shadow. So I can just go here, just do this. So I actually want the shadow to be in that direction there because when the character goes up the hill, I don't want it to be in shadow inside the city because the city is a little bit on an angle. Some shadow is cool, like we have here, but I don't want it to be always in shadow. So that's why I want to set it up like that. If I go to my details, I can change some settings of this. For example, the intensity. And I think 0.5 is good enough. I can change the color, but what I'm going to do is change the temperature. I'm going to make it a little bit more warm. Oops, not so much. If I change my volumetric intensity here, it's going to make everything hazy, which might be a cool look if you're doing like a horror game. You can't see much, but it's not really what I'm looking for, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. but I like the way that the colors are showing now. That pleases me. So that for me is Gucci. I also have a skylight. So skylight is capturing the scene, but if you want, you can make sure to have a specific cube map that's going to change the reflections of everything. So if I go Epic uh, Panorama or something else, and you can even download your own ADRIs from online, this is going to affect so everything in the scene is light up. So this sunset ambient map actually looks pretty decent. You add some interesting white reflections here, as if it's just reflected the scene is a little bit darker. So you can you have the option to do that if you want and just change the way that everything is being reflected. Honestly, low key, I really like the sky reflection in the water with the HDRI, but I don't know. See how the sea looks like. Yeah, I like with it. It has some interesting shadows. I appreciate it this way. Seems like a little bit more definition some of the shadows. It's pretty cool. Cool. There's something else that I want to do. I want to go to my directional light, and this bothers me a lot when you have this very harsh shadow transitions. Okay, I'm gonna get very close to the shadow so you can see. What you can do if you go here and you can increase your soft angle, you're gonna start seeing a little bit of this changing. So if you go source angle, increase the softness, and just play with the other one, you can see the shadow now. It has this very soft transition, which I prefer. If I go too crazy, there's nothing. So I think 10 is a solid compromise. I really like the way that it looks. That's pretty cool. Now the skylight's bothering me. But I also think it's because of our it's because of eye adaptation, contrast in the camera. So if I go to settings, you can disable this in the project settings, which I usually tend to do. It's called auto exposure. And if you disable it, that's how it's going to look like. But because I already went through the process of setting up a bunch of this stuff, it's going to be counterintuitive. Auto exposure simulates that effect that if you're inside a place on shadow and then you step outside the bright side, your eyes can adapt, your iris adapt to the light. So you see a little bit of that happening. We can control if we want. It just requires us to use something called post-process volume. So I'm going to add one to my scene, go to the top here, post-processing. And we're actually going to go back to this after, so might as well just add right now. Press G so you can see what you're doing. And like you see there, the post-processing volume, like the name suggests, is a volume. But there is a trick. I don't want to make it big like I did for the trees to compensate the whole scene. You can even have like as it starts it compensates the temple area, and as it comes out, like inside the temple is dark and the character walks out of the volume and then it's bright. You can do something like that. Maybe that'll be interesting for us to do. But for this one, which is going to affect the whole scene, what I want to do is go in the search here and look for unbound, which is essentially means it's going to affect everything. It's going to disregard the area of the volume. It's just going to apply effect on everything in the scene. So I'm going to enable it. And then there's a bunch of cool stuff that you can do here, folks. We're going to be playing a lot with this, but for now, all that I need to do, that I really like doing it, is go to my exposure and go into exposure compensation and just lower the level a little bit. I still want to have the eye adaptation, but I don't want it to be so blown out. As you can see here, enabling and disabling, you can see the difference. I also usually like to go to my lens. Where is it? Where is my lens settings? Oh, it's right here. It's in film. I said the wrong name. It's not lens film. I like to increase the slope. That makes the colors more vibrant instead of saturated. I think it looks more cool when it's cartoon like this. And I can compensate a little bit, bring more and less saturation here too. There you go. It looks very vibrant. And you can 1B, essentially enable it, disable it to see that difference. There's a lot of other effects that you can do. You can go here, add lens flare. You're not going to be able to see until you look at the sun. You can play with local exposure. I'll let you explore. We're going to be bringing a bunch of other stuff in here eventually. Can increase the bloom. So everything looks a little bit dreamy. The low key is not that bad. Oops, look at that. Just found another issue here with the collision too. So show collision. That door has a collision that is blocking the whole thing. So let's fix that before we forget. So it's actually using simple collision. So we're gonna go here, collision. Change the second to bottom to complex collision is simple. So now our character can actually go inside that door. Okay, so let's go back to our light. If you shift click, by the way, on all the way at the top, you can close all the folders. This is a very handy. A small hotkey for you. What else we have here? Well, we have a volumetric clouds that are all the way up. I could decrease the bottom altitude, so stand, which will in turn bring the clouds a little bit closer to us. Maybe decrease the radius of the planet too. It won't make that much of a difference for what we want, but at least, I don't know. The problem is the horizon, but the camera is going to be always like this, and the player is not going to be going there. So we can always put like actual assets to avoid the player going that direction. But this thing here is just to show to you the tool, so I'm not going to be bothering that much. But that's how you control the beautiful clouds. If I go to my fog density here and I increase, it's probably too much. 0.01, 0.1, 0.05. Yeah. It's not much that we can do with the lights here. One light source is good enough for what we're doing. I'm actually happy with it. I think it looks pretty decent. But we can always, when we create a tiny animation here, we can always have like a beam of light, like a golden beam of light, hitting the character as he shows up. And then we can make that volumetric. And that would be something that we're going to do when we do the cinematics. But I'm thinking literally something like this. You know? But our adventure gets into this world. And what's cool about the volumetrics, by the way, it has volumetric shadows too, which is sick. So that's something that is going to be very nice. But for now, we don't need to worry about this. I think the lights are looking good. The small post-processing things that we did also make it look a little bit better. I'm actually happy with it. It might be that it's just a little bit too warm, so I'm gonna go here again. And by the way, I changed a bunch of stuff. To see what we changed, here's a trick. Top right here, there's a cog. Click in it. The first option is gonna be show modify values, and you can change what you set up. So I have like a warm hue to it. Not entirely sure if it's helping or not. Let me decide it right now. So I'm gonna just say 6,000. And that's a little bit warmed into the default. I'm gonna take this chance since we're doing this to just pull more of this up. I don't want to surface align, I just want a normal positioning. Like, because I saw from far away, and it look a little bit funky because there's a considerable amount of this everywhere, but then for some reason stops. So just want to patch that hole there all the way to our seeking. Yeah, pretty straightforward. I love it. So with that, we conclude our world building, at least for now. We're gonna go back to cameras after cinematics and effects, but I think we're good. We're in a good stage. Let's go back in the next class to actually set up the characters, have the characters walk into the environment. We're gonna, I know I have already, but we're gonna do that from scratch with you. And that process will allow us to test this. And then we're gonna focus on more technical aspects of Paper 2D and setting up a basic enemies system and combat system. So see you soon.